Well, welcome to Org Tax. I'm sure it's everybody's favorite class, but glad to have you here. Let me get into our class right here. So this is what you'll see in my.usf. And so when you first log in, and I just want to show you how the class is organized. So under coursework, you'll do most of your homework will be done in Cengage now. And I have everything in my.usf that will be done in Cengage is all here ready to go. And you can just see what all the assignments are going forward. I made everything due on Tuesday nights at 5:30 p.m. So for week one, we're just going to work on chapter 2, and I made everything for chapter 2 due next Tuesday the 30th at 5:30 p.m. So just FYI, there's 3 things to work on in Cengage now. There will be some tax return problems also, and those will be up and coming, but they'll be up in this section. And I'll make sure everybody is aware. You'll have a couple of weeks before one is due to work on it, so don't worry about that for now. This first week, let's just focus on getting into Cengage and all that good stuff. But it's under coursework, you'll see that. Then if you go to main page and you click on, let's go to handouts. Here is where I have PowerPoints for all the chapters that we're covering. So these are the chapters that we will cover. Not every single chapter in the class by any means, but these are the ones we'll go over. And then down here I have check figures and discussion question answers. So at the back of every chapter, there's a few discussion questions. They're kind of more informational or concept-based, not problem-based. So if you want to just do some self-review to make sure you've got a good handle on the concepts, a good tool would be to go into the your ebook or whatever version of book that you have. You might have the loose leaf, and then look at the questions, and then on your own just kind of jot down what the highlights are or think through what the answers are, and then compare that to the actual answers that I have here. So let's just open up chapter 2, for example. And then you'll see once it loads here that they're all just right here. So let me just make that bigger so you can just see what the discussion questions are and what the answers are. Pretty detailed, so that might be a good review for you as you prep yourself for some of the quizzes. And there'll be a few tests sprinkled out through the class also. So these are a good review for that. Okay, so because the quizzes and tests are going to be more concept-based. There will be some number crunching on them, but they'll be generally more concept-based. And then check figures are here also. So if you want to work a few problems from the back of the chapter, the check figures are right here. So that just might be something to help you. You might find that useful. So make sure that you knew that was there. I'm going to close that. And then I had the syllabus and the Cengage Now access information there. You can see here that this is the syllabus right here. My information is right here, my email and my cell phone number here. Email always works best first. It comes right to my phone, but if you feel the need to call me or text me, that's very okay also. But I try real hard to answer within 24 hours on a weekday and 48 hours on a weekend. And a lot of you in the online section, you do know me. You've had me for many on-campus classes. You know where my office is at. You're always welcome to stop by or schedule an appointment or anything if you need help. I know not everybody has that ability, but feel free to email, call, or text as you need to. And then just homework-wise, if you want to look through this, I was going to get down to that section here. You can kind of see the general weighting of how this will work in terms of exams, quizzes, and then assignments. And then you can see what the grading scale will be right there. So just FYI, so you can look at that on your own as you would like to. And then the Cengage Now Access document, I've got that right here. Go ahead and click into this, register for the class, and then that will give you access to the assignments in Cengage Now. So just make sure you do that. That's where you can get your ebook. Your ebook is a part of the pricing to get into Cengage, but it also includes the ability, once you get into the class, you can buy the loose leaf version of the book. I don't remember what the pricing is, but I know it's not super expensive, and I would highly recommend that if you want the loose leaf version. I think you might appreciate having that. At least I do. I prefer the paper versus the ebook, but it's nice to have the ebook too. If I'm at home and don't have my loose leaf book with me, I've always got the ebook, so I do like that and appreciate that. So just make sure you're aware of what's here. That will be very helpful for you. And then I think from there we're pretty good. So hopefully that helps you out in terms of how my.usf is set up. And then once you get into Cengage now, so my look when I first get into it might be just a little bit different, possibly. But then you also have access to the Student Companion site right there. And I actually do have that over here. I forgot. I should have clicked on bookmarks. And that is right here. And then I've got a few links to various websites here. And I've got some lectures that I'll probably be, these are older ones, I'll probably be taking those out and replacing with newer ones. But you'll see various recordings show up there. I'll let you know every week what's going on. And I've got the link for the Student Companion site right here. Okay, but anyway, so that's what this gave us right there. And then in Cengage now, as of today, I only have the Chapter 2 exercises open that you can see. But every week you'll see the next week's worth of assignments will come up and you'll be able to see those. But generally for every chapter there will be 3 things to do in Cengage now. The Chapter 2 exercises, for every chapter you'll have a set of exercises, typically worth 100 points. So it's a lot of points, but it's unlimited. So you have as many attempts as you would like to get them right. So, I would expect most weeks you'd spend 2 to 4 hours working on these, depending on the complexity of the chapter and so on. But usually quite a few problems. I think I have maybe 20 some different little problems built into this one this week. I forget how many there are in there. But that's where the brunt of your homework is. But the good news is you have unlimited attempts, so you can work as hard as you want to get to the maximum points. Then you have what I call the CPA reviews. Those are typically just 5 questions, multiple choice, and a 15-minute time limit, and worth 10 points, as I think I mentioned that. Then you have the quizzes, which are all true and false questions. There's 10 questions, 30-minute time limit. And with the CPA review and the quiz, you have just 1 attempt. So just 1 chance to take them both, and you're done with them. So, but the exercises are most of the points. Then you have, there's 3 different tests that I've got built in. If we go back to coursework, they don't show up yet in Cengage. I don't want you to get too far ahead of yourself. And so but I just have what they will be or when they're due and all that good stuff over here. So test 1, chapters 2, 3, and 4. And I will always give you a week to work on a test. So it's due on the 13th, but it will be open for sure by November 6th. And so on. So you always have a week to work on assignments. Test 2, you can see, is chapters 5 and 6. And then I want to mention that the very last week of class, I made everything due on Sunday the 16th. So our class actually ends on Tuesday of the 11th, and I made a few things due that night. But then I made quite a few other things, kind of the rest of everything due this Sunday the 16th, just to give everybody some time. That's really the only reason for that, just to give you some more time, because there's a lot due that extra week. You can definitely have it done before then. I just don't want you to be too crunched for time, and that gives you an extra weekend to work on them. So that's the reason that I did that. So my class is kind of more back-loaded than front-loaded. Like there's nothing I had to do before the class started, but it's back-loaded a little bit. So just FYI, that's how the class is set up, and just want you to be ready for that. And I know as we hit the holidays, life gets busy, so that's kind of why I'm warning you now regarding some of those things that are due towards the end of the class period. So as you get into mid-December and the busyness starts, I just want you to be aware of that and plan accordingly. But those assignments will be done. I will always give you a minimum of a week, before the assignments are due to work on them. So those things, that last week of stuff will be available and plenty of time to work on if you want to work early. Hopefully that all made sense and answers your questions about the class and how it's set up. And obviously, if you need clarification about anything, just let me know. Thanks.